Zamfara government budgets 60 billion naira for road construction. Zamfara state government warns federal government against troop withdrawal. Katsina state government set to commence recruitment of teachers. On business, federal government exempts firms with below 25 million turnover from paying tax. On sports, Henry Oyekuru rejoins Galatasaray. On the international scene, 66 killed in Indonesia floods as officials warn of more heavy rain. Welcome to Standard Voice Television News. I am Musa Joy Onyoza. Now the news in full. Zamfara state government says it has earmarked 60 billion naira for the construction of roads across the state in 2020. The State Commissioner for Works and Transport, Alhaji Ibrahim Mayana, stated this while speaking to newsmen in Gusau on Monday after defending his ministry budget for 2020 at the State House of Assembly. Alhaji Mayana said the huge amount proposed for road projects indicated that the administration of Governor Bello Matawalle was committed to providing accessibility to people of the state, especially the rural dwellers. According to him, the fund would be used for the completion of ongoing roads projects and the construction of new ones across the state. The commissioner added that the 2020 budget of the ministry would also fund other projects of the ministry, such as road maintenance and transportation. Meanwhile, the chairman of the State Civil Service Commission, Alhaji Khalifa Attahiru Bello, said that the state had earmarked 20 million for the computerization of civil service data. Alhaji Attahiru Bello, who stated this while defending the Commission's budget, explained that the government considered the project necessary in order to have an effective record of civil servants in the state. Meanwhile, a non-governmental organization, the Northern Youth Assembly, has advised Zamfara government to stop its proposed 7 billion naira government house project in the best interest of the people. This is contained in a statement signed by Mr. Manir Haidara, the state NYA chairman in Gusau on Monday. The news agency of Nigeria, NAN, reports that the secretary to the state government, Alhaji Bala Bello, had last week announced plans for the project in the 2020 budget. But Haidara noted that the project had no value for the state. He said, as we are all aware, our state is currently bedeviled with serious security challenges. Let us therefore propose projects that will have direct bearing on the people, especially victims of security challenges in the state. He urged the state government to focus on identifying ways to improve revenue generation in the state instead of proposing unnecessary projects. Zamfara state government has asked the federal government to reconsider its plan to withdraw troops from some states hit by insurgency. Speaking to our reporter in Gusau on Monday, the commissioner in charge of security and home affairs, Alhaji Abubakar Dauran, said the withdrawal of troops would adversely affect the existing security structure put in place by some states. He said Zamfara state had already gone far towards the restoration of peace, pointing out that if the troops helping in the fight against insurgency are withdrawn, there is the likelihood that the bandits will come back with their heinous crimes. He said Zamfara was not in support of the withdrawal of troops from the state and other parts of the country, as planned by the federal government. He urged the federal government to have a rethink on the withdrawal of the military from the areas facing insecurity in the country. The commissioner said the security situation in the country needed collective effort of not only the security operatives but the entire people of the country. Alhaji Abubakar Daran observed that although Zamfara State was heading towards achieving lasting solution in the fight against banditry, there was still the need for the military presence in the state. He stated that Operation Haidar in Daji had been of immense importance to the security of the state. He said the operation has contributed much to the restoration of peace to many parts of the country. The commissioner stressed that it would not be in the interest of the state to withdraw the military from the state and appealed to the federal government to drop the idea in the interest of peace and tranquility. The Katsina State government said it has finalized plans to commence screening and recruitment of graduates into the State Teacher Scheme (SPAR) program. The state government will also begin payment of May-June arrears and allowances for graduates of the scheme. This was contained in press statement signed by Secretary to the state government, Mustapha Mohammed Inuwa, and made available to leadership, stating that both the screening and payment will commence soon in respective centers of the states. Katsina State government has concluded arrangement for the screening of the NCE Diploma in Education holders who have applied for teaching under the state SPAR program. Candidates who had registered for the program are advised to report to their respective screening center along with their online registration slip, attestation form duly signed by a village or ward head, and all other relevant documents. It will be recalled that the State Committee for the Recruitment of Teachers under the SPAR scheme, chaired by the SGS Mustapha Mohammed Inuwa, has called for applications to replace the 867 SPAR teachers who got permanent appointment. Accordingly, the statement further said the SPAR Committee under the chairmanship of the Secretary to the Government of Katsina State, Mustapha Mohammed Inuwa, is set to pay arrears of May and June 2019 allowances to SPAR graduates from Monday 60th to Wednesday 60th January 2020. The payment will be made at the 12 zonal quality assurance offices. All affected teachers are therefore requested to report to their designated centers along with their original appointment letters and clearance forms duly signed by their reporting principal and zonal coordinator. The Katsina State government has planned to conduct 3 polio immunization campaigns this year, including the one supposed to be conducted in 2019. The Deputy Governor Alhaji Manir Yakub said this while declaring open the 60th meeting of the Polio Eradication and Routine Immunization Standing Committee. Alhaji Manir Yakub said the committee is assuring its commitment to development partners and the entire people of the state to ensure provision of enabling environment and necessary fund for the successful execution of all planned immunization services in the state. He called on all partners and caregivers to ensure that their children receive the oral polio vaccine. The Deputy Governor said the oral polio vaccine is scheduled to hold from Saturday 11th to 14th January 2020 across the state. He also urged all local government caretaker committee chairmen to conduct local government task force committee meeting in their respective local government areas and plan for their polio campaign. The meeting was attended by Commissioner Ministry of Health Engineer Yakub Nuhu Danja, Information as well as Women Affairs, among other stakeholders and members. The Nigerian Youth Parliament Right Honorable Mubarak Mejinyawa has commended Kano State Governor Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje for executing developmental projects in the state. Alhaji Mejinyawa made the commendation while speaking after going round some of infrastructures executed by the administration of Governor Ganduje. He said the project that we have seen has clearly demonstrated the commitment of this administration of moving the state forward, adding that they have seen multi-million naira bridges with flyovers that beautify the city and also ease traffic flow. Going around the Aliko Dangote Skills Acquisition Center, the speaker expressed joy over the governor's commitment towards youth development in the state. Alhaji Mejiyawa said the facilities, equipment, and machines in different departments in the center have shown the Kano State Governor has designed a laudable plan for youth development in Kano State. The speaker added that going by what they've seen in the center, as rightly said by the Commissioner of Works, they can key into this by engaging engineers, among us the architects, builders, computer scientists, among others professions, to come and learn such skills in Kano State. Earlier, the Commissioner of Works and Infrastructure, Mazu Magaji, along with the Commissioner of Youth and Sports Development, Kabiru Ado Lakwara, took the young parliamentarians around the center. The section visited electrical, electronics, computer and communication, fittings or plumbing, machine section, catering, embroidery, and fashion, among others. The Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development, in collaboration with Kano State Government, hosted the first sitting of the fourth session of Nigerian Youth Parliament held at the State Assembly Complex. The sitting was held from 28 to 31st December 2019 at the Audu Secretariat, Kano State. Speaking during the opening ceremony of the sitting, Acting Governor Alhaji Nasiru Gauna called on the youth parliamentarians to come up with deliberations and motions that will be beneficial to the youth in the country. He stressed that doing such will complement government efforts in fighting the menace of youth restiveness and other social vices. The governor disclosed that the state is planning to open entrepreneurship centers for the youth to learn different skills. The acting governor said in the effort to boost entrepreneurship in the state, the government will soon commission centers for skills acquisition for the benefit of youth and women in the state. Kano State, under the administration of Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, promised to empower many youth and women with grants and assist them, as well as improving their socio-economic development in their community. Earlier speaking, the Minister of Youth and Sport Development, Mr. Sunday Dare, commended the state government for hosting the program, saying it is a challenge to other states to show support for the youth. Represented by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Gabriel Tanimu, Mr. Dare said there are programs designed for the youth which will be implemented in the year 2020. Meanwhile, on his part, the minister appreciated Governor Ganduje for appointing youth in various positions in the state, stressing that the appointment of young person as commissioner has proven that His Excellency is a youth-friendly governor. The National Speaker of the Children Parliament, Abba Abdul Qadri, called on NYP members to deliberate on the fight against internet children abuse. A Nigerian, Anthony Okoli, has been illegally detained by the Department of State Services for 10 weeks for purchasing and using an MTN SIM card previously used and abandoned by President Muhammadu Buhari's daughter, Hanan. The telephone number was said to have been recycled and put up for sale by the popular telecommunications network provider. Okoli still has receipt he was given for the purchase of the SIM card in question. Making the revelation in a post on Twitter on Monday, right activist and journalist Omoyele Sowore, who was himself detained unlawfully by the DSS for months for calling on Nigerians to take to the street and demand a better country from the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, described the situation as sad. Recounting his meeting with Okoli at the DSL cell, they shared together Sowore's co-defendant in the case brought against them by the Nigerian government, Olawole Bakare, widely known as Mandate, in a post on Twitter said only if Nigerians know the level of lawlessness perpetuated by the DSS in the name of order from above, we will understand the danger of having a tyrant who has no iota of respect for human rights or dignity. Anthony Okoli was only released after being told that he was now forgiven. Speaking with Sahara reporters over the bizarre incident, human rights lawyer Tope Akinyode said the situation was truly disturbing. He said he was able to gather that the SIM card which led to the arrest was once used by Hanan, President Muhammadu Buhari's daughter, but abandoned over 2 years ago. Mr. Okoli lawfully bought the SIM card after years of redundancy, unknown to him who the previous owner was. In arresting him, the DSS monitored his telephone conversation and initially arrested an elderly person who had a relationship with him until they later found Okoli himself. In line with his discussion with Mr. Okoli, he will proceed to court to file a suit against the DSS and Hanan Buhari, demanding compensation for the breach of the victim's fundamental human rights. We'll be right back after the short commercial break. Stay tuned.
Menene amfanin gari idan har babu zaman lafiya?
Mecece jiha idan babu shugaba mai adalci? Mecece rayuwa idan ba yanci?
Me amfanin karatu idan har ba aiki?
Menene mahimmancin zabe idan babu roman demokradiya?
Menene amfanin tarihi idan har ba za a samu darasi daga cikin sa ba?
Jihar Zamfara ta can ta kasance a bar sha'awa. Gashi kuma sansanin noma da kasuwanci.
Gurin da kowa ke sha'awar zuwa. Amma sai abubuwa suka juya.
Amma sai ya kasance yanzu da zarar an ambaci sunan Zamfara, tunanin wata musifa da ko bala'i shine ke darsu a zakatan mutane.
Baki suka daina zuwa, 'yan gari suka fara guduwa. Talauci da tashin hankali suka yi yawa.
Gashi jihar mu mai haske ta dawo ta yi duhu.
Sa'annan mutanen Zamfara sai muka tashi tsaye, muka kama addu'o'i da tuba ga Ubangijinmu.
Sai kuwa Allah ya amsa addu'anmu, sai ya kawo mana matawallan muradi.
Dodon makiya zaman lafiya, dodon talauci, dodon makaryata da masu yaudara.
Me yi kuma dan Allah, me kishin mutane.
Me kuma neman gwamnati ba don kansa ba.
Cikin kankanin lokaci sai gashi ya dawo mana da hasken Zamfara, amma ta fi yadda take da.
Wannan shi ake nufi da shugaba.
Jarumi ba malalaci ba.
Ma'aikaci ba barawo ba.
Allah ka kare mana zababben gwamna matawalin maradi.
Allah kuma ya ƙara masa lafiya. Allah kuma ya ƙara ɗaukaka.
Wannan saƙo ne daga gwamnatin jihar Zamfara ƙarƙashin jagorancin Bello Muhammad Matawallan Maradun MON kuma bardan ƙasar Hausa.
Welcome back on Business. Ibrahim Fauziat has more detail.
Thank you, Musa Joy. Welcome to Business News. The federal government has announced that small business with turnover less than 25 million will be exempted from paying companies income tax, CIT. Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Ms. Zainab Ahmad, while disclosing this on Monday, explained that the policy will be effective once the Finance Bill 2019 is signed into law. Contrary to the present practice, Ms. Zainab Ahmad confirmed that once the bill is signed into law, companies that make a turnover of less than 25 million will no longer pay this tax, but those poor turnover of between 25 million and 100 million annually will be made to pay 20% as companies' income tax. She indicated further that firms earning over 100 million would continue to pay 30% of their profit at CIT. The minister said not only will small business be able to do more because they are not paying taxes, they will also be working together with the Trade Authority to also encourage people in the formal sector to become formalized because they will see other business like them that are not registered doing well. Their productivity will increase, they will employ more Nigerians, and at the end of the year, they will grow to the level of medium-sized business to begin to pay their taxes. She said their assessment was that only business that has a turnover of less than 25 million need that break, not being taxed so that they can invest in their own business. The minister said they introduced the tax for medium-sized business from 30% to 20% so that they can have more resources that they can plunge back in their business. She stated that the largest employers of labor, the federal and state government, have a total labor force of less than 1% of the population. Ms. Ahmad also disclosed that the National Assembly (NAS) has already forwarded the bill to the President, Muhammadu Buhari, adding that the President had in turn sent a copy to the ministries, departments, and agency to cross-check the provision. A section of the bill, according to the minister, comprises 7.5% hike value-added tax (VIT) from the former 5%. Ms. Ahmad noted that it was unfortunate that the public attention only focused on the increase in the VAT, neglecting the benefit of CIT. The current practice is that all companies pay the federal government 30% to their profit as CIT. And that's all I have on business news. Back to Ms. Joy.
Thank you, Fauziat. And on sports, Sufyan Abubakar has more detail.
Thank you, Joy Musa. It's nice to have you back in the studio. As she said, my name is Svtv Abubakar, and as usual, I bring the sports update. It's a new year and a new beginning for Henry Onyekuru as he rejoins Galatasaray from Monaco. The Super Eagles striker has rejoined Galatasaray on a 6-month loan deal from his parent club, Monaco. Onyekuru, who played for Galatasaray in the 2017-2018 season from his parent club, Everton, on loan, joined Monaco for 12.5 million euros last summer. Both Onyekuru and Monaco have struggled to find form in Ligue 1 prior to his return to Turkey. Also for Cristiano Ronaldo, it's a new year and new beginning as he kickstarted this year with a hat-trick against Cagliari on Monday. Ronaldo scored 3 goals and assisted 1 scored by Gonzalo Higuain as Juventus demolished Cagliari 4-0 in the Serie A. This is his first hat-trick in Juventus colours, making him the second player after Alexis Sanchez to score a hat-trick in La Liga, Premier League and Serie A. Juventus will be next in action on Saturday as they play away against Roma at the Olympic Stadium in Rome. A quick reminder that Manchester City will be hosting Manchester United later in the day in the Carabao Cup semi-final. Don't miss that one. And that's all we have on sports today. Back to Joy Musa.
Thank you, Sufyan. And on the international scene. Indonesian country's disaster agency on Monday warned of more heavy downpours as flooding and landslides hit the nation's capital and its surrounding areas on New Year's Day, killing 66 people. Incessant rain started on New Year's Eve, triggering flooding in Jakarta and its satellite cities, home to about 30 million people. In Lebak district in the western tip of Java Island, flash floods swept away entire houses and everything in their path, killing at least 9 people. Agus Wibo, spokesman for the National Disaster Management Agency, said 5 days after the flood, 66 people have died as of yesterday and more than 36,000 people were displaced. The public are advised to remain on alert, and there is potential for more heavy rainfall this week as flood waters had receded from most affected locations. 9 people died in Jakarta, while the rest of the fatalities occurred in neighboring districts, according to the agency. The country's weather agency said the New Year's rainfall was the most extreme seen since 1866. Floods and landslides are common in Indonesia during the rainy season. That has been the news from Standard Voice Television. To end the news, a quick look at the major headlines. Zamfara government budgets 60 billion naira for road construction. Zamfara state government warns federal government against troop withdrawal. Katsina state government set to commence recruitment of teachers. On business, federal government exempts firms with below 25 million naira turnover from paying tax. On sports, Henry Oyekuru rejoins Galatasaray. On the international scene, 66 killed in Indonesian floods as officials warned of more heavy rain. Thanks for watching. I still remain Musa Joy Onyoda. Stay tuned.